district, we do have so much to be proud of. We continue to make meaningful progress in student learning, staff development, and community partnerships. Our educators and support staff embody our mission, which is investing in collaborative experiences that inspire and nurture personal growth, and our vision to build a solid foundation to prepare all students for life and career success. We are also moving forward with key initiatives that will shape our future for generations to come, including the middle school, high school building project, which represents a major investment in the learning environment and overall student experience. Thanks to the ongoing efforts of the Thunderbolt Foundation, we're seeing new opportunities and resources that strengthen our schools every day. Tonight is about collaboration, listening, sharing, and working together. It's a chance to have an open and honest dialogue about where we've been, where we're headed, and how we can continue to grow as one Littlestown community. On behalf of the board and our entire leadership team, thank you for being here tonight and for the trust you place in us. Your involvement is what makes Littlestown strong, and together we're building the future one student, one classroom, one Thunderbolt at a time. And at this time, I would like to turn things over to our acting superintendent, Dr. Al Moyer, who will be serving as this evening's moderator.
Thank you, Mr. Lovell. Good evening, everyone. It's great to see you here. I've only been here a month, 3 days a week, and I think I recognize most of you. Is that good or bad? I don't know. I'm not sure. But I'd like to, first of all, make sure that you know who's here. We invited the entire board, and I really appreciate board members that you were able to take time out of your busy schedules and all the meetings that you have already. So if you would, just introduce yourself and share how many years you've been serving on the school board. Mr. Perez, if you would start.
Good evening, I'm Phil Perez. I've been recruited, actually nominated or voted in for, what's that? Appointed, there you go, that's the correct word. Just 3 months ago for a four-month term, just to fill the vacancy. So glad to be here tonight.
Good evening. I'm Janelle Ressler. I was elected 2 years ago for the 2-year term to fill a position that was vacant on the board by the previous board. My term expires in November, and I am running again for another term. I'm excited about the district and where things are moving forward.
Good evening. I'm Donna Bayless. I was appointed to the board approximately a month ago to fill a vacancy, and I'm on the ballot for the general election this coming Tuesday, so for a 4-year position. So if you think I'm a good fit, I'd appreciate your vote, and thank you so much.
I'm Jeannie Ewan. I was elected and did 4 years from 2019 to 2023, and I was appointed for 13 months. That ends December, and I'm on the ballot for the 2 years. And I'm currently vice president.
I'm Nick Lovell. I'm the board president. I've been on the board for just shy of 2 years. I was elected in 2023.
Hi, my name is Steve Yerger. I was appointed 2 years ago for a vacancy, and I'm running for election. And thank you very much.
Hi, my name is Dwayne Sullivan. I've been on the board since December 4th, 2023. So I'm just shy of 2 years like Nick. Nick and I ran together, got on the board together. So it's pretty much, I'm still with Nick. So
We didn't run as running.
no, we didn't, but you get my point.
We ran at the same time.
We ran at the same time is what I meant, so everybody gets confused.
You were.
But I'm saying we came on at the same time, just so everybody knows. And so I have another 2 years left. So I will continue serving the community and do my best to work for the people of the district. Thank you.
Dr. Berryman?
Dr. Berryman, Assistant Superintendent. I was a teacher here for a number of years, left, did some administrative work in some other districts, and then I came back to Littlestown about 4 years ago.
And just real quickly, I've got about 40 years of experience in education. My last 10 years was a school superintendent at 2 different districts. In my Encore career, I was 5 years as the Ed Leadership Coordinator at McDaniel College. for aspiring school principals. I still do some adjunct work for them. I helped out at Shippensburg for a full year in a role similar to what I'm doing here at Littlestown. I found that to be a very gratifying experience and really enjoyed that experience. And so when the opening came at Littlestown and the opportunity, I just want to say a big thank you to the board for allowing me to come and help you all out here. I'm not sure how long I'll be here, but as long as I'm here, I'm dedicated to trying to do my absolute best. I do have a commitment to the Gettysburg Area Recreation Authority over in Gettysburg, in that little 50-acre community treasure right near the Gettysburg Hospital. I have no background in Parks and Recreation, but I'm having a good time there. And it's just wonderful to see so many youth sports occurring there. And anytime we can get kids away from screens and video games and all those things and working with other kids for common goals and good role models as volunteer coaches and so on, it's wonderful to see that and to be a part of that. The procedures for tonight, what we would like to do to make this a very positive and productive evening for everybody, we have asked for some questions in advance. We have 14 people who have asked us questions in advance. Some of those questions are very similar. So the board officers, Dr. Berryman and I, we tried to cluster those a little bit for efficiency purposes and so on. But when we are done doing that, though, we are going to open it up for Q&A at the end for any questions that you might have in response to any of those. But maybe we're thinking as we address some of these questions, we probably will address some of the questions that you all might have. But if we don't, we want you to ask. And when we get to that part, we would just ask you to stand up, state your first name, and direct the question to me as the moderator, and then I will turn it over to the person that I think probably has the most information that can help you out with that. We're pretty sure that there's going to be some questions that we can't answer tonight. We recognize that. We will do our best to follow up with you. If you give us your contact information, we'll get some information to you after that. I do have a couple of ground rules that are probably pretty obvious to everybody, but I apologize. I got my back to you. It's probably pretty obvious, but obviously we cannot discuss anything that would be ongoing litigation of a legal matter. We cannot discuss specific personnel issues, obviously. So we want to be careful about that. And then the other thing I do want to say before we start, because I've been around a little while, 4 decades, it shows, in high-functioning school districts, people discipline themselves, the school leaders, the board members, board officers, the school leaders discipline themselves to follow a chain of command. If you have some specific concerns regarding programmatic issues, concerns regarding your child's experience, and so on, we would ask that you first and foremost, unless it's of a very serious, egregious nature, then don't go past go directly to us and let us deal with that. But generally, for level 1 types of situations, start with the person that has the most information that can help you out. The classroom teacher, the coach, the guidance counselor, the building administrators, and so on. Start there. And if you don't get satisfaction, keep working up through the chain of command until you get the answer that you need. It might not be the answer you agree with, but it is the answer and so on. So that's really important. And I think it's important for the principals and board members to also that we discipline ourselves. If someone at Kenny's Market, all right, is sharing something with us of a concern and so on, board members and superintendents shouldn't say, I'm going to solve that for you right away. If it's an issue that they have with a teacher or a coach or a situation, we need to discipline ourselves to encourage people to go talk to that person that has the most information first. And then again, if you don't get satisfaction, move up through the chain of command. What I have found in my experiences is that many times it's just a matter of some misunderstandings or some miscommunication, and if you start with that person, they generally can help you out for the most part. With that said, we are going to address, first of all, the pre-submitted questions. And that'll be mostly the board officers, Dr. Berryman, and myself, all right? And then when we're done with that, we'll open it up to everyone. So again, thank you very much for coming tonight. We really appreciate this opportunity. The first one, what is the expected process and timeline to move the middle schoolers into the new middle school, high school? And by the way, I think Mr. Barnes said this, I love old buildings and the character of old buildings. This used to be a gymnasium at one point. Am I right, Mr. Barnes? Yes. Believe it or not. And did you play in that gym? All right, a lot of people did. All right. Here is what I am recommending to the school board, and they plan to put it on the November agenda. I believe with the magnitude of this project and us just getting engaged in phase 3, I've been part of 3 construction meetings, and I've been a part of a lot of other construction meetings in my career. The magnitude of this project, and also after the 3 phases are done, there is always a punch list afterwards, as some of you are familiar with. Let's let the contractors and let the professionals in the construction area, let's let them finish that, and let's let them get that facility as close to 100% as possible. I have seen moves in the middle of a school year, in February, March, and so on. And I will tell you, they generally do not go well. If we were moving from one wing to another, I would say, we might be able to pull that off. But when we're moving from a whole block or two to another facility, it's a whole lot more. So to take a lot of pressure off of our facilities department, to take a lot of pressure off of our teachers, our custodial staff, and maintenance group, my strong recommendation to the board is to make a public announcement in November that we will depart this middle school and start fresh with the 26-27 school year in the new facility. But I will say this, I am sure there's going to be some hot days in May where they're thinking, oh gosh, what did that Dr. Moyer, what was he thinking, whatever. But that will happen and so on. But I think in general this is really the right thing to do, and I think making a public announcement about that will be very welcome to most of our stakeholders, I believe. Judy, you have, Dr. Berryman, you have the next one, I believe.
So the next question was about the pitcher's mound at the baseball field. And the person who submitted this had said that they wouldn't be here this evening, so I will reach out to them. I'm not sure if you're aware, but we did have an athletic feasibility study done last year. There are some things before the board, and we're also looking to get some site projects back as to what some of the athletic field upgrades could be, but as part of that, they would be looking to resurface or regrade the baseball field. But that being said, that's not going to happen in the spring for this baseball season, but we do have an on-site level, and they look at that every year. It is above grade, so like there's a certain height that the pitcher's mound has to be from home plate. And it does meet PIAA guidelines, and it is, within regulation. I think the part that it looks difficult for is because when you're out along the sidelines and stuff, it does not look like it's regulation, but it really is. It's been looked at a number of times. It is part of the feasibility study that the board will have to vote on as far as what upgrades we do to the athletic fields, but that is part of the scope of work.
Thank you, Dr. Berryman.
Do you want to ask if anybody has any comments for each question, or you want to?
We're going to get through these as efficiently as we can, and then if there are comments related to any of these and anything else, we'll open it up. Next, the situation, the unfortunate, tragic situation that happened last Tuesday morning here at the middle school. Again, we're just going to be as honest as we can about that. Legally, right. We have ascertained a resignation from Bill. He is very remorseful. I think I can easily say that. This was his second career. He was a meteorologist before. He also taught in North Carolina for several years. When he came to Pennsylvania, even though he was certified in another state, there are some things, certification is not national. Certification is state by state. There are reciprocal agreements from some states, not all. Pennsylvania generally has a little bit more rigorous standards than most other states. So he was just going through the process of getting formally certified here, but again, he had been teaching middle school science in North Carolina. Obviously, it's a tragic thing for him as well as the district. One of the questions had to be, did students complain about him before? In doing an investigation internally, the answer to that is no. I know what you might be hearing on social media, and I know how that feeds itself and goes crazy or whatever. One of the reasons I don't do social media. But please understand, we've done an internal investigation, and this is what we've learned from the people that are closest to the situation. The hiring process, this gentleman went through the vetting process like any other professional that's hired here. 3 full interviews. And he was pretty impressive during the interview process and so on, from what I understand. And then the question also was lessons learned from this. If you can put yourself in the middle school principal situation and you have a person that's struggling getting in, falls and is bleeding and hurting themselves outside school, you help them get in, you realize that there's a problem and so on. You call the police, and then we try to put out something to everybody as factual as we can, and also protecting the school district from a legal standpoint. In talking with John, our school security officer, and talking with our council and so on, there's not a whole lot we would do differently. And I can certainly understand why the middle school principal that early in the morning was looked at this as, let's do a well-being check first of all. This is a very unique, unusual situation. And again, we've got a resignation. We're going to work hard to find a suitable long-term sub replacement. We're going to do that as soon as possible. This person, he has a family member that's, well, I'm going way too far. Yeah. I need to stop at that probably. So that may not satisfy everybody. I understand that, but at the same time, we stand by that situation. It's very unfortunate. It's tragic for him. It's tragic for everybody all around. It's terrible that our students had to be exposed to that and so on. But I do believe, by and large, we did do the prudent thing overall. And I was not on campus that day, so I want to thank Dr. Berryman. I want to thank our school security officer, Mrs. Golden, and our team here for acting as quickly as they did. And please know, all right, as remorseful as he was, there was never any intent, and there were never any weapons, loaded weapons, inside the school, or even a threat of that. But this gentleman, again, why those things were in the car and why his life situation was the way it is, I'm not going to judge that. That's not for me to judge, I don't think. Next, I would like for our board officers to talk a little bit about the Sunshine Act, rules of engagement with the school board meetings, community education sessions, and a little bit about our board mission.
Yeah. Thank you, Dr. Moyer. So the first question that we got, I have 4 here. The first question is, what is the Sunshine Act? How does it apply to the current board? And examples of what it does and what it does not apply to. So the Pennsylvania Sunshine Act is a state law that requires government bodies, including school boards, to conduct their business openly and transparently. For the Littlestown Area School District, it means All official board meetings are publicly advertised, open to the public, and live streamed whenever possible. The district publishes its meeting schedule at the start of each year and posts meeting agendas at least 24 hours in advance, which in here is often much earlier than that, on the district website. Citizens are able to comment on matters that are or may be before the board before any official action is taken. The board may not deliberate or make decisions privately. All discussions leading up to a vote must happen in public. Which we have several meetings of discussion. We have rounds of committee meetings, we have work sessions, and then we have a regular voting meeting. The Sunshine Act does allow executive sessions, which are private sessions that only board members and relevant administrators are at, but it's only for limited purposes that are expressly stated under the law. Things like personnel matters, collective bargaining, purchase of land or real estate, litigation and legal matters, things of that nature, our annual safety report. Those are things that the law requires to be done in executive session. And in every case of those executive session items, any vote or official action resulting from those discussions must be taken in public and not during an executive session. The board cannot vote in executive session. The second question, rules of engagement for school board meetings and what are currently established protocols. The board follows our board policies. We have a long policy manual on our website. We have the zeros through the 900s. There are many, many policies that we update and review regularly. We follow the relevant board policies. Most of the policies that relate to the board's operation in our meetings is in the zeros. And we also have guidelines that also govern how we do things. And we follow, for the conduct of our board meetings, we follow Robert's Rules of Order. These rules ensure fairness, decorum, and an orderly process for board members and the public. So those would be the established rules that we follow to ensure decorum, transparency, and that we are at all times following the applicable school code and Sunshine Act requirements. Question number 3, are there any community education sessions planned to review the above subject matters with the community? There have not been any planned at this time. We're hopeful that sessions like this will get the word out to the community and help inform you all about these topics. We have also started doing things like board highlights in which we talk about matters that and highlight things that have happened in our board meetings. We could potentially include some information like this, but the community can rest assured that we are at all times being diligent in following board policy, Pennsylvania School Code, and the Sunshine Act when we're conducting our meetings and doing our business. And then number 4 is, does the school board have a clear mission and vision statement? Yes, as the Littlestown Area School District, and I think I mentioned this in my opening, we have adopted mission and vision statements. These were developed during our last comprehensive planning, which was the last school year. And our mission statement is investing in collaborative experiences that inspire and nurture personal growth. Our vision statement is to build a solid foundation to prepare all students for life and career success. And you have anything to add?
No, but maybe at the end of the board highlights, we can add a little section, even though it didn't happen at the meeting, we can pick a policy in the board and then explain it, instead of putting the whole thing in there just. And then over time, if they read it, they can learn how we function in board meetings and why we follow, how we follow the policy. Yeah.
I really like what the board officers are doing. And, oh, Jeannie, speak up.
I was gonna say, if anybody's even read the board highlights. Can't hear her.
You stand up when you're talking, that's what she said.
Oh, okay. I was just saying that maybe we could add, in the board highlights, maybe at the bottom, a policy for the board, how we can just explain it. Not the whole policy, but just explain how we're functioning by policy. Because, you know,
I do think,
we can look
I
rigid,
think
but
what
we
the,
have to follow policy.
what the board officers have done by giving us these highlights have been wonderful. I don't know if you've had a chance to check those out a little bit. I think they're very informative. That way you don't have to look down through the entire, several pages and whatnot. So I commend you all for what you're doing with that. The next item has to do with student life and safety regarding, I don't know if it's real or perceived, mental health funding being pulled from the school, and also recognizing the struggle that our elementary kids are having sometimes with reading comprehension and so on. Dr. Berryman, I think you were taking that one.
So sorry. I also have some notes. So I took some notes earlier today so I could hit all of these. I had two different people submit questions, kind of very similar, so I'll try to do all of them at one time if that's okay. So with the mental health funding, I think you might be referring to some of the grants that may be not renewed. So still waiting on the state budget and the federal budget. Like, our state's in a very unique situation right now where we're waiting on two budgets. So we'll have to make those determinations when we see what funding we get and if the grants are going to be renewed. I do think we are very fortunate here that we have a mental health counselor that's on staff. We have 2 school psychologists, which is almost unheard of for a school our size. And we have 2 behavioral health specialists. Now, one of the behavioral health specialists is on a grant. So we'll have to see, again, where the funding lays out with that and what type of grants that we get that we can apply for. As far as transitioning from Alloway Creek to the middle school, I know that they have been working over the last couple of years to institute a variety of different things. So all of the 5th graders do a visit to the middle school in the spring, like around May, so that they can see the building, they see like the cafeteria, some of the classrooms, and things like that. And then the elementary counselors meet with the middle school counselors, and especially for students who might be at risk for something, so that the counselors know, what classes maybe they should be in, if they need some weekly check-ins, if they struggle with organization, can there be somebody that can help them out with that? Then the elementary admin team also meets with the middle school admin team, same thing, like overall, what kind of class do we have coming up? What are their academics like? What are their behaviors? Are there at-risk students? Are there kids we should try not to put in the same classrooms? Because believe it or not, we get that every year as well when we're trying to schedule kids. So there is a lot that goes on with that transition. They did share with me, generally, like some of our kids who are in, like maybe intensive learning support or emotional support or autistic support, they also generally try to get them up and get into those classrooms to visit with the teachers at the end of the year. And I don't have the reason as to why that didn't happen last year, but I was told that that did not happen last spring, but that will be happening. Like, they will have that again this year so that those kids can have a smoother transition. Some of the other questions on that were about reading, and so we have been doing a lot of work in the reading realm, elementary, and even going into the middle school. So about 3 years ago, the state passed legislation where there's a certain group of teachers who have to be trained in the science of reading or structured literacy. So we had a number of our K-3 teachers went through letters training, which is a very comprehensive training on science of reading. And I'm probably getting into the weeds here, I'm sorry. But then we also have K-5 has to have training in structured